Welcome to the NBA Pub Hub, Pub Sports Radio, Wednesday, December 28th. Ian Cameron and Dutch with you on a Wednesday, ready to break it down. 8 games on Wednesday's card. We'll break it down in just a second, but we can't start looking at tonight's games without mentioning an absolute bit of greatness we clearly all saw last night in the NBA from the one and only Luka the Don, as he's affectionately known on this show. What can you say? I mean, it was just a performance for the ages. Absolutely, undoubtedly, one of the greatest regular season performances we've seen in NBA history. I'm not going to say the greatest because there's a bunch that are on that short list, but you got to put what Luka Doncic did last night on that short list for sure. 60 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, a triple-double. Are you shitting me with that performance? And absolutely carried and brought the Dallas Mavericks back from the dead last night against the New York Knicks, because they would have been absolutely spanked by the Knicks last night if not for Luka Doncic. And sure enough, they look like they're even going to lose the game with a minute to go, 30 seconds left, up by 9, the New York Knicks at the time. And they somehow find a way to blow the 9-point lead. It gets to overtime, and Dallas ends up with the victory in overtime. An incredible individual performance, one of the best you'll ever see from Luka Doncic last night. And only the New York Knicks, only this fucking franchise, which has done nothing in 20 years, could be the team that breaks the winless record, essentially, of a team basically leading by 9, with 30 seconds to go. Teams that were up by 9 with 30 seconds left in an NBA game were or down by 9, I should say, with 30 seconds left, were 0 and 10,000, honestly, or something like that last night going into the game. And here's the New York Knicks, the first team in NBA history to lose a game trailing by 9 points with 30 seconds left in the game. Could only happen to those New York Knicks. Dutch, it was incredible. What did you think?
Yeah, man. Luka the motherfucking Don. You know me. I co-sign him big. He's my guy, man. He really is. Like, you give me one player right now, it's Luka the Don, man. There ain't too many things that guy can do. You talked about it. I'm not going to call it the greatest performance, but from a point guard, I mean, it's just pretty fucking impressive. Luka the motherfucking Don is a beautiful thing. It's that simple.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. You're right. I was too nice to the Knicks. I said 0 and 10,000. It was I think it was 0 and 30,000 and something. 0 and 30,000 plus, the all-time record of a team that was trailing by 9 points or more with 30 seconds left in an NBA game. Or what was it? There you go. Yeah, 0 and 13 and 8. 13, that's still brutal. And here's the Dallas Mavericks over those Knicks, making it 1 and 13,884. What can you say? I mean, only the New York Knicks could find themselves on that side of history. No question about that. All right, let's go to Wednesday's card. Let's get it rocking and rolling here. We've got Orlando taking on Detroit. The Orlando Magic 1-point road favorites here, 229 the total in this game. The Magic have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA since the beginning of December, the beginning of this month. And they're still 8-2 straight up their last 10 games, although they did lose last night to the Lakers, 129-110. Not one of the better games, certainly from the Orlando side of things. They're now on a back-to-back as they make this road trip to Detroit Motor City to take on the Pistons. I'm still taking Orlando. I know they're betting Detroit, and I get it. It's Orlando on a back-to-back. Is Orlando going to level off and cool off a little bit? It's possible. But I don't trust this Detroit basketball team. I mean, they've lost 6 straight, 1-point spread cover in those 6 games. We just saw them absolutely cough up a lung. I don't know how they blew it to the Clippers the other night, but damn it, they did. And they ended up losing 142-131 in overtime. That's on the heels of getting destroyed by double digits in 3 straight games before that against Utah, Philly, and Atlanta. And then they had that collapse against the Clippers. So I get it. It's a tough spot for Orlando, right? Back to back. But I'm not going to stop riding Orlando until I lose 2 in a row with them. That's always that's the way I play it. If I've been riding a team, I finally lose with that team. I don't jump off the train until I lose 2 in a row. I have not lost 2 in a row yet with Orlando, so I'm going to be back on them tonight, just asking them to win the game, because quite honestly, a whole lot more fucking confidence in them finding a way to win a basketball game right now than the Detroit Pistons. What do you think here, Dutch? Magic, Pistons?
Yeah, man. Salute to them real ones holding us down in the chat. Star Child, I see you, my man Mo Harris. AOD, Slow Jams in the building. Don Mac, appreciate all y'all joining us. Yeah, man, I got fucked up with Orlando yesterday. I didn't expect that from LA. I thought they might have been looking ahead to MIA tonight. But the Magic got smacked around from start to finish. I ain't gonna lie to you, and you touched on a lot. I know you've been riding the Magic, and I would only look Orlando here. They did lose by 4 to this team earlier this year already. I know that they're playing better basketball now than they were back in October for sure. Look for them in a team that's young, talented, getting smacked in the face yesterday, and really being put all over with that LBJ fadeaway. I mean, come on now. So let's look for Orlando to come out early and often here, and I think beat a basketball team. They're just better than it, but I'm not gonna bet Orlando here tonight. But I definitely like where you're looking, Bobano.
I do too, and I like Banchero props as well in this game for the Orlando Magic. I think he'll have a very good performance. Nobody in the front court, worries me. Bogdanovich, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren. Nobody worries me in Detroit on the front court, the front line. I think Paolo Banchero is a big night. And I want to point out something. The last time they played Detroit, they did face each other back in October. Detroit won that game 113-109 here in Detroit. Banchero that night had 27 points and 9 rebounds. He barely missed a double-double. He's like plus 600, plus 650 to get a double-double tonight. I think that's a good look. I think that's honestly got a legit chance to cash in here tonight in this game. And I think he's going to have an advantage on the glass. Detroit's not a great rebounding team by any stretch. He's going to get obviously doubles and points. Can he get there on the glass with the rebounds? I think he can in this matchup here against the Detroit Pistons tonight. And keep in mind, you're right, they rested a lot of the starters down the stretch once that game got away from them against the Lakers. So I don't think they're going to be as fatigued, on a back-to-back as some teams might be. So that should be an advantage for the Orlando Magic tonight. All right, next up here, we continue along Phoenix and Washington. The Suns, 2-point road favorites, 220 the total in this matchup. Of course, the Phoenix Suns on the road this year. I mean, about 6-10 straight up on the road for the Phoenix Suns. Right away when I see that, and 6-10 straight up on the road, you're laying points on the road. My first thought is, damn, you better have a very good reason to lay points with this team on the road right now. Can they do it here against Washington? I'll say this about the Wizards. They played last night. So did the Suns. The Wizards off a home win against the Philadelphia 76ers, beating the Sixers outright as 4.5-point dogs. Meanwhile, Phoenix was on the winning side as well last night of a 125-108 win against Memphis as 7.5-point dogs outright. A terrific performance from the Suns. So you got two teams, obviously feeling good about the way they played last night, but you got Phoenix going from up to Washington. It's a bit of a weird, travel situation, and it's the Suns team still without, Shamet Payne, Cam Johnson. Devin Booker's going to miss this game once again for the Suns as well. Looks like Bradley Beal for Washington with the hamstring injury is questionable for this game. Keep in mind, he played 30 minutes, got 19 points last night against the Sixers. So do they become a little bit cautious with putting him in there? We'll have to wait and see on that. But actually, crazy enough as it is to say, I'd lean Washington, but I don't know. It's still Washington against Phoenix and Phoenix -2. Doesn't it feel short? It does, but that 6-10 straight up road record worries me. It would be typical Suns, the way they've been up and down this year, to beat Memphis last night and just lay an egg tonight in Washington. I could totally see that, and they are still shorthanded, so probably going to pass on this one. Dutch, how about you here? Suns, Wizards.
Yeah, man. Real quick to answer LG's question. Ayton did have 30 and 13 against these boys this year earlier. So, that could be a look right there. He did. They played earlier this year, and the Wizards beat him actually. And I kind of agree with what you said, Bobano, completely. I mean, I'm not going to bet the Wizards here, but if I had to bet this basketball game, I think Phoenix was all in last night. They got punked by Memphis. The other night on Friday night. And they came right back and just put it on them without Book. Big game, big travel spot too. You're in the altitude up there, Mile High. You touched on it. You got to travel to DC now. I just don't really know if they're going to be ready for this basketball game or care simply about this basketball game. I would look Wizards early as well in a back-to-back situation. Wizards first half seems pretty appealing to me, but not too much of this basketball team I want to bet of late. They're not that good of a basketball team. And Bradley Beal being questionable as well. If I'm betting the Wizards, I want him in the lineup. So yeah, strong pass for me here. But I do think the Wizards might be some value here today.
All right, we got the Lakers and the Heat now next up. Boy, Lakers and the Heat back in the day used to be a glamorous matchup. The Lakers not so good these days, and Miami up and down this year. Not so much tonight, but Miami 8-point home favorites, 227 and a half is the total in this game. We've got the obviously a spot advantage for Miami. They're rested. They played Monday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They won that game by 3 points, 113-110. Lakers coming in on a back-to-back after playing the Orlando Magic last night, winning 129-110. If you actually look at it, go back further, Miami played Friday night before the Christmas break against Indiana at home, no travel. Home against Minnesota Monday night, no travel. No travel before this game. Meanwhile, you got the Lakers. They played Friday at home against Charlotte. They got to travel for Christmas Day at Dallas. Then they traveled to Orlando last night, travel tonight to Miami. I mean, it's a huge, scheduling situational spot edge, I think, for Miami, just because they've had less games really since last Friday. So it's a big advantage there in that spot. It feels like I want to be laying the points with Miami. I have strong lean that way toward Miami. We don't know who's going to suit up for the Lakers. We know AD is still out. LeBron will have to wait and see. Dennis Schroeder looks like he's a game-time decision. LeBron's questionable with the ankle injury. The fact that this number's trickled up from 7 to 8, I think there's some belief and buy-in that LeBron ain't playing tonight. That's just a sense, a gut feel on a back-to-back on the road that he may not go tonight. So I think laying the points with Miami is still the way to go, in my opinion. And damn well, with Anthony Davis out once again, you know what we're doing. They've already bet this total up 3 points. I'm on it as well. Over the total, 227 and a half. No AD, no defense for the LA Lakers. We've talked about this all the time whenever he doesn't play. They play with greater pace. The defense suffers without him. AD's not, keeping them from going up and down the court. And look at how, without him, they've all of a sudden, they're over machines. The Lakers, 5 straight games have gone over the total. We've seen games get into the 250s, 260s, 239 against Dallas on Christmas Day, another 239 last night in terms of total points in the game between the Lakers and the Magic last night. So I definitely like the Miami side. Small bet there, but laying the 8, but I like the over even more. Just keep rolling with that with Lakers games as long as AD does not play. What do you think here, Dutch, Lakers and Heat?
Yeah, man. Good to see Billy join us. Now I could just straight up back with this motherfucker now. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Billy Briz now with us. Billy, what's up? What do you think here, Lakers and Heat?
Yeah, my bad. A little bit late. I do kind of like the Heat here. I kind of got burnt a little bit last night, though, with the Magic, so I don't know how much. I think the over could be the play here.
All right, liking the over. Did you like anything, Billy, in the first 2 games we talked about before you got here? Orlando, Detroit, Phoenix, Washington. Anything there?
Man, I really want to get back my Orlando Magic money from last night, but I think that could be a really good prop game. Paolo Pincheiro could be in a really good bounce-back spot. He had a really poor game last night. And Jalen Durden, double-double, could be also a look, too.
Yeah, and I love the Banchero points, assists, anything with Banchero, and the double-double, like I said, is worth a look. Crazy price there to sprinkle on that. I think it can hit for sure. And Phoenix, Washington, anything for you there?
No, I kind of want to see what the injury report is because I think Chris Paul could be also on that injury report tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to see. They've got him listed as playing, but again, that could change last minute, especially when it comes to CP3. We've seen this before with him. So, and definitely, of course, they got Booker and Payne and Johnson, and there's still the others that are out for the Suns tonight. All right, let's go on to next game here on the slate. It is Brooklyn, Atlanta. The Nets 6.5-point road favorites, 233.5, 234. Yeah, I'm buying in finally. You got me, Brooklyn. Put the cuffs on me. You got me. All right. I'm a believer now. You're playing great basketball. You took the money right out of my hands again last night, or the last game against Cleveland earlier this week. Hey, you go to Cleveland, you beat that team on the home floor there. You deserve some credit for that. No, they're balling right now, Brooklyn. We got to give them their due. They're 22-12 now. They're better to back on the road anyway. than they are at home. They beat Cleveland. They beat, obviously, Milwaukee before that. They crushed Golden State. They're rolling right now, and I have no faith in this Atlanta Hawks basketball team whatsoever. It is a shit show on the court, off the court, issues with Coach McMillan and Trae Young. He ain't even playing all that great. There's no defense being played by the Atlanta Hawks right now. This is could be a dead bird here tonight in the ATL as far as I'm concerned. The money's come in on Brooklyn, and I agree with it. I don't lay points with the Nets very often, but I am here tonight, 6.5 here with Brooklyn in this one. What do you think here, Dutch, Nets, and Hawks?
Yeah, man, I'm right with you there. BJ says trifecta spot. I believe so, my guy. I like him right here. You only need a bucket at the end of one. You only need 4 at the half, and we need 7 now. The line's creeped up a little bit, so I was really liking the 5. But for official show purposes, we'll make that first half full game. First half first quarter both looks. But yeah, I think I second everything you said there about Bonos. There's levels to this shit, man. And Brooklyn is just on another motherfucking level. You got 2 of the most elite basketball players in the league playing with chips on the shoulder. We've seen it with KD, and now it's trickled down to Kyrie. Kyrie moving on defense. This team is bought into whatever Jock Vaughn is saying. Ben Simmons is a big fucking piece to this. He's not gonna load up the stat sheet, but if you're watching the games, he's a big piece of what they're doing. I like what I see. Little Curry guy should be getting a little bit of minutes, but they've kind of like put him, Patty Mills, and Thompson on the back burner a little bit. They need bigger guards. Really, the only guard that should be out there that's small should be Kyrie. And that was the thing in the past, is they would have 3-4 motherfucking little guys running out there. Now Kyrie ain't no big dude, so they put him up with O'Neal, Simmons, KD, and Claxton's been playing out of his fucking mind. I like Brooklyn an awful lot. I think the only way we don't get out of this one with a straight smack motherfucking city, shout out to our guy Jay Money, is the fuckery, man. Because this to me is just ups and downs. I mean, they beat him already once this year, and Capella was in that game with a double-double. I believe he had 15-11. They don't have no Capella. I mean, Claxton should be able to work these boards. KD and Kyrie will definitely get the job done in the ATL, I believe. First quarter, first half, Brooklyn, good money.
Not to mention the injuries, too, for Atlanta. We've got DeAndre Hunter right now, questionable with an ankle injury. Trae questionable with a calf injury. It looks like they've got Jalen Johnson game time decision. Clint Capella's out once again for Atlanta in this game. So not only playing horrible basketball lately, Atlanta, but still very shorthanded as well. And rest advantage, too, for Brooklyn. Brooklyn played a couple nights ago on Monday, and here's Atlanta playing last night at Indiana. And now they got to fly back home, play Brooklyn tonight. So it's even a rest advantage, a scheduling advantage for the Nets tonight as well. What do you think here, Billy?
Yeah, I like Kevin Durant here in this spot. He has played very well in this matchup. Last season, he had 55 and 31 points versus Atlanta, and I think he has another good game tonight. I think Atlanta's going to have a hard time guarding him. His over 28.5 points is -120. It's not a bad look tonight.
There we go. That's a really good fucking question there, Dan Kelly. Does Trae out make Atlanta a better team? I guess we'll find out tonight. Yeah, it very well might. That is.
If Murray was there, I would say yes, but without him, I mean, come on, what do they really got? But defensively, DK, absolutely.
Bogdanovich, man, this could be a great spot for Bogdanovich.
He's questionable tonight too.
The Nets allow the most 3-pointers per game towards the shooting guard position, so it could be a Bogdanovich 3-point night too.
I think the betting markets agree that Trae, again, not exactly a great defender, because they bet the hell out of this under 238. It's down to 233 now. Lots of money on the under, and I think a lot of that is part of it, at least, is Trae's possibility that he doesn't play tonight in this game, which probably does help the under there in this one. All right, on we go. Minnesota, New Orleans. We've got the Pelicanos here, 6.5 point home favorites. 234 is the total in this one. Pelicans, of course, there's another team that every night you just don't know who's going to be on the floor for this team. It seems to change one night to the next. Of course, they've had Trey Murphy banged up. They've had Zion in and out. They've had CJ McCollum in and out. Brandon Ingram remains out. Herb Jones remains out for the Pelicans. Looks like tonight it's just Ingram and Jones. Everybody else should be on the floor for them. Minnesota, still no Karl Anthony Towns for this team. Kyle Anderson currently questionable as well. But it looks like the backcourt should be intact here. D'Angelo Russell on the floor for the Timberwolves. Austin Rivers, Anthony Edwards, and Jalen Jaden McDaniels rounding out the starting five with Rudy Gobert tonight for Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota, just when you're starting to get all hyped and excited again, they lose 3 in a row after winning 3 in a row. It's been the tale of the season for the Timberwolves, consistently inconsistent. They lose 3 in a row to Dallas, Boston, Miami, 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread. The Pelicans have done pretty good work over the Timberwolves. They've covered 4 of the last 5 against the Timberwolves. The last meeting between these two teams last year at 128-125. We saw a lot of points. We're seeing the Timberwolves kind of trend over. We're actually seeing the Pelicans kind of trend that way as well. 5 of their last 6. I think that's what I'd probably go with rather than a side in this game is look over the 234. I think we'll see points tonight in this basketball game. What do you think here, Dutch? Timberwolves, Pelicans.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy Adam Larkin. Shout out to Nasty Nate. I see you, my man. Bet that with Jay in the building. I mean, I think it's got to be Pelicanos or nothing, man. You know, Timberwolves to me are fugazi as fuck. They are really suspect on the road as well. 1-5 ATS last 6 overall on the road. 0-7 ATS last 7 on the road versus a team with a winning percentage greater than 60% or 60% or better. So the Pelicanos, you know, seem to handle business. I think this is a team that they should be able to exploit. Rudy Gobert has fucking been a huge mistake. They could stick around, but I think this number is, you know, I do think this number is pretty sharp, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Those Pelicanos are nothing for me.
Pelicans are nothing for Dutch. How about you, Billy, with this one?
I kind of like the Timberwolves in this one. I kind of lean towards the Timberwolves getting the points here. It's hard fading the Pelicans at home, but I feel like everything's not all right with the Pelicans right now. Their form has been a little bit spotty. They did beat up on a bad Indiana Pacers team when everybody was against them. It could be a little bit of recency bias, but I think Timberwolves are going to play some good basketball. Historically, this has been a good spot for them. They're 4-1 ATS last 5 meetings in New Orleans, so I think the Timberwolves are going to play some good basketball tonight, and 6.5 points is too much.
That's the thought in the back of my mind that if I take the Pelicans tonight, this will be the night the Timberwolves show up and make a game of this, which they're capable of, but they just don't do it every night. We'll see if tonight's the night. Milwaukee, Chicago, all kinds of money on Chicago. Milwaukee opened 5-point road favorites. It's down to 2.5 now with the Bucks slight road favorites now, 230.5 being the total in this one. And as soon as, you know, you see that kind of movement, you know it's injury related. And you've got Drew Holiday now downgraded to out for the Bucks tonight with a hamstring injury. He was initially listed as probable with the left hamstring contusion that he suffered on Christmas Day against Boston when they lost to the Celtics, but now he's been ruled out for this game. Chris Middleton out once again for the Bucks as well. He's missed the last 5 games for them, so definitely depleted, no question about that going into the game tonight. Chicago, though, the big question is, can you trust this team? We know they've been up and down all season, 14-19, 7-8 at home going into this game off a 133-118 loss to Houston. That was one of my winners on Monday's show, was the Rockets. Plus the points. I said you can't take Chicago laying 7.5 in this game. After the 3 wins in a row against Miami, Atlanta, New York, they laid an egg. They'll obviously be looking to bounce back here in this one. And they did beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee the last time these teams played, 118-113. Chicago won outright as 7.5-point dogs. Do I trust them to do it again here? No. Am I in love with taking Milwaukee? No, but I'd still prefer Milwaukee, even without Holiday and Middleton. You still have the Greek Freak out there. You know, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to play tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks. I still got to lean Milwaukee. And in fact, if this line, I might wait it out, see if the line falls any further. And if it does, and even if it doesn't, I might jump on a Bucks money line at this point. I think it's been over-adjusted to Chicago based on the injuries. What do you think here, Dutch, Bucks, and Bulls?
Yeah, man, I wanted the Bucks early, but I need Drew out there, so I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger. You touched on it, man. They beat him, you know, with Drew in the lineup in Milwaukee. So, you know, I think they look ahead to these boys too. They beat Chicago after winning 3 straight, and we touched on it. They lose as an 8.5-point favorite to Houston, as I think they was looking to this game here against Milwaukee. DeRozan dropped 36 on them earlier this year, so I lean Chicago here. Hard for me to pull a trigger on a team that I know isn't as good as Milwaukee, but I do believe no Drew, no Middleton, and the Chicago team that simply just is going to come to play against a Milwaukee team who's right down the motherfucking road from them. They see these boys often and want to beat these boys most definitely. So I would probably look maybe DeRozan prop here, and I do think there's some value with the 2 at the house for Chicago.
All right, looking at some DeRozan props and maybe Chicago leaning that way as well. Billy, what do you think?
I think the only way to really look here is Milwaukee, man. I feel like the way the Bulls have played on the road, they've played like dog shit on the road of recent. 1-6-1 ATS last 8 road games, and that's really hard to ignore. I get it, no Drew Holiday in this one, but I think Javon Carter is going to step up here, man. It's not the first time he's had to play this role before this season. His numbers look really good without Middleton and Drew out there. His over 3.5 assists is at -145. I think that's good money. He's went over 5 out of the last 7 games without Drew Holiday. And Chicago is a good matchup. They allowed the second most assists as a team. So I think this is going to be a good spot for Javon Carter. There's not going to be too big of a drop-off in the Bucks roll here.
Good stuff. On we go. Denver, Sacramento now. Next up, we've got the Denver Nuggets, 1.5, 2-point road favorites, 236 being the total in this game. Same exact matchup, same exact venue as last night with the same 2 teams in action, and it was Sacramento with the Denver rather with the 113-106 road win in Sacramento last night. Same 2 teams at it here on a back-to-back. Although earlier this year or last year when these teams played, Sacramento, believe it or not, covered 2 in a row against Denver last year when they played. We'll see if they bounce back here. Interesting to see with Denver winning the game last night, whether anybody is rested for this game. Jamal Murray in particular, they're being cautious with him on back-to-back situations, and he did play last night in the game against Sacramento. We'll see if he's in there tonight. Questionable currently with the left knee injury that he is battling right now. So we'll see if he's given maybe some rest tonight. Aaron Gordon as well, a game-time decision, questionable for the Kings with the shoulder issue. And he also didn't play last night. So we'll see if he returns. I definitely think spot-wise lean Sacramento a little bit. And last night's game, surprisingly, it was a little bit lower scoring than I thought, considering these are 2 teams that don't always bring it consistently defensively. We've actually seen Sacramento 2 games in a row for them have gone under the total. I lean Sacramento. I lean over tonight. I don't love either one, but certainly lean in those 2 directions as far as this game is concerned. What do you think here, Dutch, with the Nuggets and the Kings for the second night in a row?
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy, Sam Comer. I see you, my man. Shout out to Jacqueline. You Capper, I see you, my dude. This game just tough to me, man, because I don't. These 2 games they play back to back. Sacramento did what they're supposed to do. Our boy Jay Money came through and gave the trifecta on the Kings yesterday, and they first quarter, first half, and then gave it away full game. Tough basketball game as well. So probably some props to be made here if you break it down a little bit more, look a little more into it. But I didn't do that, so I don't have nothing for this basketball game.
Hey, Billy, what do you think here with Denver, Sacramento?
Oh, man. Everybody was trying to tell me Aaron Gordon bet a lot last night, man. Aaron Gordon was the deciding factor in the bet. Aaron Gordon didn't beat shit. As long as Nikola Jokic's out there, man, the Nuggets are going to try to roll. But, man, it's hard to back the Nuggets on the road. Their ATS record on the road of recent isn't really something that's been too reliable. I think well, you were talking about the over could be a good spot here. Last game just went under. The over 6-2 last 8 meetings overall. So I think we see an under last night and an over this night, and a good showing for Jamal Murray.
All right, final game here, Utah Golden State in New Oracle. We've got Utah currently in this one, 5.5 point road favorites, 232.5 the total, which clearly tells you that there's some lineup information that we're finding out for Golden State. And remember, Golden State played last night at home against Charlotte. We'll see if they are able to play well once again tonight, but it looks like there's going to be some missing personnel from a Golden State standpoint. Andrew Wiggins out, Steph, of course, Curry, they've been out for a while, but they're out tonight. Looks like Klay Thompson is going to be downgraded to out due to the knee issue. For him, downgraded from doubtful to out for this one after playing last night against Charlotte. And it looks like JaMychal Green out as well for Golden State. I think the big reaction is to Thompson. Thompson just been ruled out recently here for Golden State. So that explains the money coming in on Utah here, 2.5 up to 5.5 point road favorites. I don't know if I'm rushing a bet. I took a loss with Utah the other night. They just did not play well against a below average, actually bottom tier San Antonio team. They ended up losing that game the other night. I'm not rushing a late 5.5 here with Utah. If anything, here, maybe take a shot with Golden State at the highest number possible, but not crazy about this one. But I'm not laying it with Utah. I'd prefer taking the points, even with a short-handed Golden State team on a back-to-back. Crazy as it is to say. What do you think here, Dutch? Utah, Golden State?
Yeah, this game's tough for me too. I honestly like Utah here, but it's hard for me to pull the trigger laying 4.5 on the road here. I just don't think Golden State really. I think they gave a lot last night in that game. I don't know, man. It seems to me that this Golden State, they care about one game, they don't care about another game. They don't have too many horses out there tonight. They did come together, play some basketball last night. But then also made it tight, made it a motherfucking turtleneck for me late there. But yeah, I like Utah here, man, but I just can't I can't get to the window laying 4.5 on the road. They did beat Golden State earlier this year by 1 already. I think Clarkson and these boys can score an awful lot of points. Maybe Utah team total over would be a look.
Yeah, I think there's that's a good thought there, because I think that's a little more trustworthy than them laying the points, especially now at 5.5. The team total might end up being the better option if you like the Jazz tonight. Billy, how about you? Utah, Golden State.
Yeah, I'm hitting this prop. I'm hitting the props in this game. Larry Markkinen's threes are a little bit juiced at 2.5 now. I mean, man, it's at -180. It's a little bit unplayable, but you could throw that in like a little same game parlay if you're liking that one. I think Jordan Poole's going to have to step up big tonight. I was kind of leaning towards Dante DiVincenzo, and then I started looking at the numbers, and the numbers had me a little bit thrown off a little bit. But I think the best prop in this game, there was going to be Jordan Clarkson's rebounds and assists at 7.5. Usually we'd like to hit his 3-point prop, but he's been contributing in the other categories like rebounds and assists, and this sets up for a perfect game for him to contribute in those categories.
All right, great job by Wine Time Sports as well. Yeah, got the good number. Utah, they're -3.5. Definitely, yeah, and they do. That's exactly what I thought. There, our guy UCapper there in our YouTube chat talking about the Jazz as road favorites. Man, I don't trust him. Look at that, 1-3 straight up in ATS as road favorites. I don't trust them. It's just that simple. So that's why it's a tough game. It's not like Golden State's going to be full bore tonight, and it is back-to-back for them as well. But I'm not laying this many now with the Utah Jazz. Great stuff with Dutch and with Billy Briz. Thanks to everyone in the chat joining us. 220 live viewers. Let's hit that like button. Let's go drive that number up, and make sure you're a member of the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. If you haven't done so already, it's just $4.99 a month. Lots of great perks, incentives. Become a YouTube member right here on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. We got Best Bets, Dutch's Freshest Look coming up right after Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke. Southtown 101 and manscaped.com. Promo code PubSports. 20% off and free shipping with the promo code PubSports. All right, Best Bets. Dutch's Freshest Look. Dutch, we'll start with you. What do you got for your freshest look?
Yeah, man. Freshest look. We're going to the ATL. But we're looking at Brooklyn. And it's juicy, man. First quarter, first half. It's good money.
There you go. First quarter, first half, Brooklyn early against the Atlanta Hawks. Freshest look for Dutch. Billy Briz, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, it's not going to be the most popular look, but we're going down to New Orleans, and we're going to take the Minnesota Timberwolves plus 6.5. Catch the points here.
All right, Minnesota Timberwolves plus 6.5 there for Billy Briz. I'm giving you two best bets because I can't decide between the two. One side and one total. Over 227 with the Lakers and the Heat. We're just riding the overs with AD out. No defense played by the Lakers. They can still score, though, and they showed it last night. Miami, not the same defensive team this year either, for the most part. So Lakers and Heat over 227. And I'm also going to go Orlando money line, basically just asking them to win the game, minus 120 against Detroit. I know it's a back-to-back. I know they had the bad game against the Lakers last night. It is a rest advantage for Detroit, but Detroit just cannot find ways to close out games. They've lost a bunch in a row, blown out a bunch in a row, and then they collapsed down the stretch against the Clippers. I'm just going to simply ask the better team at the moment to win the game, Orlando money line against Detroit. So there you go. One side, one total. Best bet for me here on the Wednesday edition of the NBA Pub Hub. That'll wrap it up. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it. And a reminder, Connor and I at top of the hour, college basketball net profit. It'll be Dutch. It'll be Ski Profit. It'll be Durrell tomorrow on the Thursday edition of the NBA Pub Hub. So make sure you join them for that. For Billy, Briz, and Dutch, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday, another edition of the NBA Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports Radio. Dutch, take us home.
Yeah, man. Salute to them real ones holding us down in the chat. AOD, DK, Don't Panic, Abel, Real Deal Prime, Dabby Cat, my man, Mr. Trifecta, Nasty Nate. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the motherfucking video. Y'all stay fresh, stay blessed. Let's stay putting these motherfucking bookies to rest. Yeah, man.